I'll tell you about only one chakra first of all. It's the yellow chakra you see there called as Swadhisthana, which moves around that word. This is the one which is responsible for producing or manifesting aortic plexus, but that's only on the physical side. Now how much work this poor center has to do? We have never thought that when we think, the energy we use in our thinking, how it is replaced. Thinking energy, from where does it come in our brain? We are using our brain all the time, but what is replacing it is this center. So these centers, you know, the brain is made of fat cells. This center converts the fat of the stomach for the use of the brain. And that's how, it's a great hypothesis, I'm telling you. That's how those who think too much go into imbalance. Futuristic people planning everything, plan this, plan that. Most of the plans fail also, but they are planning all the time. Thinking too much. All that leads to one crisis if that person becomes imbalanced. In the sense that this poor center which has to do other jobs also. It has to look after your liver, it has to look after your pancreas, it has to look after your spleen, your kidneys, and part of the intestine, large intestine. So a person who thinks too much, is very right-sided, futuristic person, first problem can come from his liver. In the medical science, I don't think we have much knowledge about liver. Liver is by which we live, I think. It's a very important organ in the body. So the function of the liver is to absorb all the poison of the body and convert it into heat, which passes to the bloodstream. Is the function. Simple. In simple words. I'm not using any medical terminology. Simple one. So now when you start thinking too much, you neglect your liver. When you neglect your liver, poor thing doesn't know how to do this job. So the whole liver is saturated in the stomach. The person has heat here, then the heat starts passing upward. When it passes towards the heart, we call it right heart. In the medical science there is no right heart, but we have a center of right heart. It creates a problem. And that problem is called as asthma, simple words. This heat can also pass to your throat. Also it creates a kind of a bone which always flows, you sneeze 20 times in the morning. All that sort of, there are two types of colds also. We have two types of things. We have one lethargic liver and one is overactive. So this is, I'm talking about overactive. Because such a person is overactive. So he develops this cold, sneezing, this temper, anger, anxiety, tension. आपका जो आजकल चला हुआ है. All right. Then this heat passes over. It can go to heart at a very young age. Supposing there are boys who are playing tennis or some kind of a rigorous game and drinking. This might affect and can have a massive heart attack at a very young age, which can be fatal. Now, the same heat, when it passes to the throat, you develop throat trouble and you get hoarse throat and all kinds of problems. Goes on like. Now when it moves down, say to your pancreas. Poor pancreas is also suffering because it has no energy from the center. So a simple disease a person like that develops is diabetes. Too much of thinking gives diabetes, nobody would believe. They think that too much sugar gives diabetes. No. In our Maharashtra, if you have to have a tea properly, the sugar should be such that the spoon must stand at right angle. Otherwise it's not tea. And nobody gets diabetes because There are villagers working in the morning, nicely sleeping down in the night, not worrying about tomorrow, how to do this, how to do that. Only the people who are sitting on their seats and planning, thinking, also worrying, get diabetes. Now diabetes is curable. They say in inheritance also it is curable by putting this at the time. Then the third thing I told you is even more dangerous, is the spleen. Nowadays the life is so funny that it cannot be congenial to the working of the spleen. Spleen works, as you know, whenever there is emergency, it starts producing more RBC. That is simple as you know. So what happens that, supposing the morning is there, read the horrible newspaper, Bombay blast, this, that, immediately the spleen starts working. Then you don't eat your food properly or breakfast properly, just hurry up, somehow or other eat something, get into the car, cursing all the people on the way because of the jam. Reach the office where the boss is angry with you and absolutely you are in a mess now, and poor this thing is walking. She doesn't understand the craziness of this man. How am I to produce RBCs? When am I to produce? This craziness makes it vulnerable to blood cancer, the leakage. Because she is so crazy, she doesn't understand how to react. Now what happens that, this is supposing, I'm telling you, is the spinal cord, and these are the centers. This is the left side, this is the right side. Now, they go on working, extracting energy from the center. It gets exhausted. Suddenly something will happen. Some sort of a shock on the left side, because you are working the right side. So it breaks. When it breaks, the connection with the whole is lost. And that's how you become manipulated. The brain cannot control anyone. So they take over. Now the left side is also a very mysterious thing which will shock you. I don't know if I would be able to speak today about it. That's quite a mysterious thing is this left side, about which there is no knowledge in the medical science. Now, so this trouble of leukemia comes in. Then it goes to this heat. It coagulates your glucose. You cannot pass urine. Even urinary bladder would be like this. Now you get this kidney trouble, you put on the dialysis, poor man dies, a bankrupt. Dies, no doubt. Nobody lives out. It is fact. Dialysis has not cured anyone so far, I know. It just makes them live longer and longer. I mean, it's a fact. So he dies. Then also it goes down, as I told you, in the lower portion. And sometimes you do not feel hungry because of the liver, plus you feel constipation. And constipation can be of the worst type that people get, that all their lives they end up with edema or some sort of a sophisticated. So these are the common diseases which will be facing all such people who are overactive.